Hello everyone, and this is going to be Taff's word on football. Predominantly my blogs are about Newport County, my team, but I occasionally touch on some of the the arising subjects, topical points in football across the globe. And it's fair to say this one was coming, really, wasn't it? The transfer of Neymar has pretty much taken football's ridiculously high amounts of money to a whole new level. I mean, ever since the introduction of Sky and televised football, you've seen less and less fans going to games. You've seen the money teams get skyrocket. Therefore, the transfer fees have skyrocketed, and it's just gone up and up and up and up and up to the point that rich people use a football club as a plaything, and they're not afraid to throw money, which basically we're talking life-changing money for anyone. We're talking life-changing money for some countries. Basically been thrown around as spare change to bring better footballers to the club that they own. We've seen it with Abramovich. We've seen it with Sheikh Mansour in England, obviously. Monaco started doing it. Paris have now started doing it. It's safe to say Real Madrid have always done it. Basically buying their success. But someone like Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid are big enough, right, because of the history that they have, they're big enough to have enough money to make a strong enough team to compete on any level. Did Paris Saint-Germain really need to go and spend 200 million on one player? Did they really need to do that? No, absolutely not. They could have spent that money on 5 players that would have made their squad much, much better. But they went for Neymar. Now, Neymar's a fantastic player, don't get me wrong. He's worth a lot of money, you know, and the going rate in football, I don't believe a transfer should ever go beyond 100 million. I mean, not long, but before Zidane went for 47 million, I always felt that, you know, transfer fees shouldn't go above 30 million. You know, I mean, back in the day, when Nottingham Forest bought Trevor Francis for 1 million, it changed the world. It changed the whole outlook on football. But the thing is, back then, teams had the money. They earned the money through, well, tickets, merchandise, sponsorship. Obviously, you did get some TV money then, but obviously gradual increase is what you call inflation. Football inflation. You'd be looking at like where 1 million pushed on to 2 million, and then all of a sudden, bang, Andy Cole went for 7 million, and then bang, Alan Shearer went for 15 million, and then Danielson went for over 20 million, and then Christian Vieri went for over 30 million, and it's just been that knock-on effect. I mean, Zidane then went for over 40 million, Kaká went for over 50 million, and it's just gone on and on and on until Man United shocked everyone by spending so much on Paul Pogba last year. And now, I mean, we were all wondering when's the first real 100 million plus player gonna happen. But no, it's not just been 100 million, it's been 200 million. I mean, football has already had a really bad effect on football. I mean, the money in football has had a really bad effect on football, because it's made it impossible for clubs to build in a natural footballing process. You know, building a good team, you know, good scouting, good youth, you know, good youth academies, you know, bringing the players through, developing them correctly. If someone learns how to do that right, they shouldn't be having their players poached by all these big boys who are going to offer their players triple their wages just to get them to move. I mean, Southampton, you look at Southampton 5 years ago, you see Southampton with the same team, they're pushing top 4, but they sold up. They keep selling up. You know, their scouting is magnificent. Their managerial recruitment is magnificent. Southampton should be a top 4 team, technically. It's the same as going back and West Ham should have won the league. I mean, you look at the players that came through West Ham back when the likes of Carrick and Lampard and Rio Ferdinand and Jermaine Defoe all came through all at the same time. Joe Cole came through at that time as well. West Ham should have won the league, but they sold up because these players Rio Ferdinand must have tripled his wages moving to Leeds. Michael Carrick obviously doubled his wages to go to Tottenham. Frank Lampard obviously must have doubled or tripled his wages to go to Chelsea. I mean, at the end of the day, if West Ham have got all these good players there, right, you got to think, do they really need to sell up? They could have just pushed on. Do these players really need to play for someone bigger? No, because they're at a team with the potential to do well. The big factor in these players moving on is the money. And it's as simple as that. Oh, I want to move on because I might win more things with this team. I said, look at the players around you. Look at the team you're being built here. The one team, right, the one squad that kept all their players in the English Premier League. They kept all their players and added to it and pushed for that league title and pushed in the Champions League was Leeds. Now, Leeds kept their good players. They kept the likes of Harry Kewell and Lee Bowyer and Alan Smith. They kept hold of them until the bubble obviously burst in the end. They got greedy. They pushed it too hard in the end. And then that's the other part of it. When clubs get too ambitious, fans moan at chairman for not being ambitious enough. Let's put a bit of money into this and push up the table. It's like, hold on a minute. We're in a league with 23 other teams. Do you not think they're thinking the same thing? It's going to be competitive. You have to be self-sustainable and be clever with your money. And some teams push it too much. The one thing that people are saying is that the bubble might burst now. Paris Saint-Germain spending all this money on Neymar may end up pushing it so far that the bubble bursts on the whole thing. Sky are going to need to pay double to put the games out because it's costing so much money. At the end of the day, fans shouldn't be fitting the bill for this. Fans, they want competitive football, but they're not asking these teams to go out and pay that kind of money for these players. They're not asking these teams to pay these players hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. Now, I remember a time when I used to stick up for footballers, but back when they were on like 50 grand a week, and people used to moan about the amount of money they earned. I mean, end of the day, right, you look at a film, alright, Tom Hanks, an incredible actor, makes a film like Forrest Gump, and say Forrest Gump made 50 million. Tom Hanks gets 5 of that million. He gets 10% of the profit that film makes. Obviously, I don't know if these figures are true. I don't know that much about films, but I'm just talking theoretically now. Tom Hanks gets 5 million because his name being in that film helped make that 50 million. So I think that's what you'd call a justified fee for his services because his name boosted that film enough for them to make that kind of money. Take it with footballers. Footballers push these teams and they elevate them to the point where they're able to make this kind of money. So I think footballers and their wages is what I call the cut, their justifiable cut for elevating these teams to the point that they're making this kind of money. Now, that's now gone beyond any sort of defence. I used to defend footballers and their wages. People just say, oh yeah, doctors only earn so much, and footballers earn the same in a week as what a doctor earns in a year. But doctors know before they start training to be a doctor how much a doctor earns. So, yeah, you can say they save lives so they should earn more money. Are you going to pay more tax to front that bill? No. But the thing is, there's a different kind of income. And come to think of it, footballers earning that kind of money puts more tax into our system. So, yeah, you could pay doctors more on the back of footballers earning more money. But it's gone beyond a joke now. No player should be on more than £100,000 a week, in my opinion. I think as soon as a player started earning more than 100,000, you thought, this ain't right. Especially when ticket prices, especially at places like Arsenal, like 60 odd quid. No, 20's plenty is the perfect slogan for football now. Lower leagues need to charge a lot of money because that's basically their income. They don't get big TV money. They don't get big sponsorship money. They have to make their money on match days. Whereas teams like Man City don't need to make their money on match days. They don't need the money, so they can have cheap seats being sold, for next to nothing. And people use that as an argument to say League Two prices are bad. League Two price average is £20, but then I can go and watch a Premier League game for that. You can go and sit in a shit seat that nobody else wants to sit in for 20 quid, and that's it because they got the support to justify putting the odd seat down to that amount of money. In the lower leagues they haven't. So I think I've touched on a lot of different aspects of money in football and the fact that it's gone beyond a joke now, and it's to the point that a team like Newport County, who I support, is ever so much harder for them to ever think one day we could win the league, the league. Swansea and Bournemouth, Hull, perfect examples of teams who come from League Two up to the Premier League. But realistically, are they ever going to be in a position where they can win the league? Absolutely not. Back in the day, back in the 70s and the 80s, was that the case? Absolutely yes, because football financially was much fairer, which brings me to my final point. Financial fair play, what a complete and utter load of bollocks that is. End of the day, financial fair play rules, they work when it suits them. When they can stick it to Man City and charge them 50 million for breaching them. But Man United went out last year and spent nearly £100 million on one player. But there's no investigation in that. Where do they get the money to do that when they're in so much debt? I mean, obviously when Liverpool went out and spent 100 million, they sold Luis Suarez for 75. Standard transfer budget of 25 million, plus obviously the wages and everything like that. You see what I mean? If financial fair play exists, make it so it's actually a fair, even spectrum for teams across Europe and in the domestic leagues. So it's a fair playing field now, where finances are concerned. If one team on the back of their size earns more money through merchandise and sponsorship, then so be it. They earn that money, off the back of their name. If someone has got a rich chairman ploughing billions into their club, that's not fair, because there aren't billionaires all over the world to come in and buy these teams out and make it fair. Man City have just spent 200 odd million on 6 players. It's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? Where do they get the money? They haven't got many fans. Well, they got a lot of fans, but not as many as United or Liverpool or even Chelsea. But somehow they got all this money. You tell me that's financial fair play, is it? Fuck. So there we go. Finances in football have gone well out of control, and to the point that the game game's already ruined. We've already ruined football. Football is still a beautiful game to watch, but as far as it being a fair and level playing field, it's already destroyed. As far as people earning a fair wage in football, it's destroyed. As far as fans actually paying a fair price to go and watch it, destroyed. Because you don't get fans in the ground anymore because it's too expensive. You get fans who would rather pay the money per month to sit at home and watch it. And can you blame them? No, not really. You can't, can you really? They'd rather go and sit in the pub with their mates or sit at home in front of their home TV. You can't blame them. Football is ruined, but it's not gone. It's not beyond repair. So there we go. I hope you guys agree with me. If you don't, fair enough. I often talk crap, but then I think what I've said is something that a lot of other people are saying anyway. So I'm going to call it at that. Newport County's first game tomorrow. Looking forward to that. And one more quick thing. The football season does start tomorrow. The football season doesn't officially start when the Premier League starts. The football season starts when the first Football League match kicks off. So that was tonight. Sunderland Derby and Nottingham Forest, Millwall. For those who turn around, finally the football season is starting tomorrow on the eve of the first Premier League game. It pisses me off. So, yeah, rant over on that one. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, cheerio for now.